everyone. My name is Melanie. Welcome back to Open for Business. In this second installment of our show, we will be featuring a Whitewater local favorite, Second Salem Brewing Company. We sat down with the brewmaster and owner of Second Salem, Chris Kristen, and picked his brain on all things pertaining to opening, naming, and maintaining a microbrewery restaurant. You are not going to want to miss this inside look at the independent craft brewery that has everyone in town talking. Stay tuned.
At the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, we're passionate about learning. Our talented faculty members blend teaching with research, creating hands-on learning experiences for students. Warhawk Pride thrives at UW-Whitewater, where student athletes excel on the field and in the classroom, where diversity is celebrated. A tradition of excellence. Find your passion here.
Peace, education, activism through creative engagement. Peace is a nonpartisan organization that promotes peaceful resolutions to university and worldwide conflicts. We raise awareness on issues regarding environmental rights, social equality, and political justice. Every month, we show a documentary in the Summers Auditorium. You can learn and have fun doing it. Peace. Be the change you see in the world.
Welcome back. Are you ready to meet Chris and learn about the opening of Second Salem? Chris, take it away.
I grew up in the family restaurant business. As a small child, my father owned a family restaurant and a pizzeria. So I came back from college, ran my father's pizzeria, and then after about 10 years, my wife and I purchased my father's family restaurant, which is where we are sitting now, and started the slow conversion to make it kind of a little bit nicer restaurant, gastropub, craft beer, hybrid. What I was looking for at the time was a place that kind of the professional crowd would go out and find something a little bit nicer in Whitewater. Not to say that we have bad places, but at the time I started this project, it was family restaurants, sub sandwiches, pizza, and bar and grill. So we wanted something a little bit nicer. 2011, we started in one half the building to renovate, create a craft beer bar and grill. And in 2012, December, we opened that. It was called Lakefront Pub. About a year and a half later, I'm sitting on our patio with a friend of mine, another local business owner, and we're having a few beers, and the idea comes up, have you ever had interest in turning this place into a brewery? And they said, absolutely, that's my long-term goal. And after some more talk and whatnot, decided to bring him in on the venture, found a head brewer to help us start the project, and we got the ball rolling, and by December 2014, Second Salem was up and running.
Who knew that even the building had such a long restaurant history? After this short break, we're going to hear about how Chris and his buddies came up with the artistic branding concept for Second Salem. Do you ever get curious about how restaurants and retailers get the ideas for their names? Keep it locked on UWW-TV to find out. If you're a Whitewater native or even a UW-Whitewater student, you may be familiar with all of the paranormal and witchcraft-related folklore. But why did Chris and his friends decide on Second Salem Brewing Company as their title? What are the benefits to banking on such a hefty amount of witchy stories? Let's take a listen.
As for how we came up with the idea of Second Salem, It was over many beers. We were sitting in the back by the patio, me, one of the partners at the time, and the brewer at the time. And I think we'd been involved in the project for 3-4 months, and we'd been trying to think of a name for 3 more months. And we had a sheet with probably 200 names on it. Some of them terrible, some of them just weird and random. Some of them would probably make a cool name for a beer, but we didn't have a branding behind it. So jokingly, the brewer looks out the back window of the building, and you can see the Hillside Cemetery. And he says, "Why don't we just name it, I Can See the Cemetery from Here?" Out of lack of creativity. And from there we started the concept talking about Whitewater's history and folklore. It started with talking about the Beast of Bray Road, because he also asked, does Whitewater have a local Chupacabra legend we could play off of? The mythical little Spanish coyote dog beast that terrorizes farms. And we said, well, there's the Beast of Bray Road in Elkhorn. And he's like, whatever. Tell him about it, take out the little Google machine, and we show him that there have been some really terrible movies made on it, some posters, some books, things like that. And then we start talking about Second Salem, Pratt Institute, the Witch Tower, other folklore. And as we're telling all his history, and he's kind of like disbelieving it, folklore, because there's really no history that points to a lot of it. As we're telling him this folklore, at one point I go, no, truthfully, in the 1800s, Whitewater's nickname was the Second Salem of the United States. And as soon as I said that, the other partner, Thayer Coburn, just kind of fist on the table, and he goes, that's it, Second Salem. We talked about it for a little bit, and we decided to go off of it because it plays with, from that marketing aspect, we thought of how do businesses name themselves. So specifically, we're looking in the brewing industry. There's geographical, and your top ones you think of when you hear that in the area is New Glarus, New Glarus, Potosi, Stevens Point. Geographical, your location. On a national level, Dogfish Head, it's a geographical location. And then there's the self-centered aspect, just name it after yourself. Three Floyds, Bell's, Miller, Pabst, Schlitz, things like that. There's the edgy aspect, Dark Horse, Flying Dog, other breweries like that. And we decided Second Salem gives us the opportunity to play to Whitewater's history, geography, local legend. It gives us a chance to be edgy if we want, dealing with the idea of witchcraft. So we ended up settling on Second Salem, and we're extremely pleased with it.
It's quite interesting to think that every household name begins with a conversation and maybe even a few drinks with friends. But choosing the proper name for a business that will draw in customers and maintain a brand is incredibly difficult. We think Chris hit the nail right on the head for his microbrewery name. When we come back from our last break, we will hear from Chris one last time about what it means to him when you choose to eat locally for lunch or dinner.
Step into a place that's alive with creativity. At the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, our students have a passion for art, graphic design, music, dance, and theater. We're here to help you discover your artistic potential. From classic techniques to modern innovations, UW-Whitewater is an outstanding place to learn your craft and prepare for your career. So bring your talents and imagination. Come be part of the Warhawk family.
The mission of the food pantry is to lower our food insecurity on campus, and we realized that a campus food pantry was extremely necessary, so that's why we got it started as soon as possible. Mostly we're looking for toiletries because we get a lot of food from our food provider, like shampoo, soap, toilet paper.
The food pantry is located in Whitehall and is open from 2 to 5 Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Donation boxes are located in the UC, or you can go online and donate on the UWW Foundations page. For more information, go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/UWW Campus Food Pantry.
Choosing to spend your hard-earned money in an independent establishment is sometimes not the easiest option when there are multiple mouths to feed or items to obtain. But choosing to put your faith into the local eateries and shops in your area can make all of the difference. Did you know that according to the U.S. Department of Labor, local eateries return more than 2 times as much money per dollar of sales than national restaurant chains? Here's what it means to our local brewery owner when you choose to take a seat at his place.
This is not just me counting money at the end of the day and not caring about what I put out. There are plenty of restaurants that are just based off volume. They don't care about what they put out. This is my livelihood. If I'm not doing a good job and you're not liking it, I don't get paid at the end of the week. And we're still fresh enough that in many ways that's the way it is. If I'm not doing this right, if I'm not buying right, if we're not treating you good, if you're not bringing big parties, if you're not recommending us, I don't get paid. My employees get paid, I don't get paid because I need to reinvest. That's the way small business works. If there's something left at the end of the day, we get a little bit of it and the rest we're reinvesting in our business. Customer service is the second thing you deal with, but the most important thing when you enter a restaurant. The first is your visual association. Is the place cool? Is it nice? Is it clean? Is it busy? Is it slow? Second, it's that contact. It's that customer experience side. So customer experience, uniqueness now. People want to see something that's a little unique. Is it boring? Is it bland? The quality of the product, absolutely. People want to, want to know that they're getting their money's worth. If you're charging $11, $12 for a burger, which we do because we do try and use locally sourced beefs, we hand patty, we make our sauces, we do as much as we can in-house to a level. You need to be able to show it and justify what people are getting. If you're putting a $12 burger out there, it better not be a 4-ounce burger. It better be something good. It better have grill marks. It better be juicy. It better be cooked to the right temperature. You better know a beer that you can pair with it, depending on if it's a burger that has roasted red peppers and garlic and it's going to pair great with an IPA versus something that's going to have a lot of cheese and barbecue sauce and bacon and it's going to pair good with an amber. So it's the experience. It's the experience in short, putting it all together.
Thank you to Chris Kristen at Second Salem Brewing Company for letting us behind the scenes in this edition of Open for Business. My name is Melanie, and this is Last Call. We'll see you next time.